Autobots, transform!
What's up, everybody? I am George, the 80s Transformer fan, and I'm back for the final installment of my 1984 Voltron Classic Series figures. This is the merger video, and as a bonus, in this video, you will see the new Netflix Legendary Defender version, and I am going to get these guys merged without further ado, and I'm going to do it montage style. Here we go. Just let me stop in the middle of my montage and impress upon you the size of the Black Lion alone. I'm going to scoot him back to the castle, almost out of my reach, and the Black Lion is almost as big as Voltron's castle from the 80s, Panache Place. Okay, and while I'm interrupting the merger, let me bring out what a lot of people know figure MP10. And this is the Black Lion about to merge into Voltron. This is MP10 right here, which is a pretty nice scale figure.
Let's go! Voltron Force! Yellow Lion, leap into action! Form arms and torso!
Okay, now that I've had my fun merging this guy, I'm going to stop and sort of rewind a little bit because I want to show you the electronics and sound effect features that he has while he's merging. He does a little communicating with the rest of the lions when you're putting them together. And it also gives me an opportunity to show you how to disassemble this guy. And before I do that, I want to show you that the front and the back of the wings are painted like in the cartoon. This is like the first Voltron ever to have it that way. Usually when you fold it out, unfold the wings, it's no longer correct, or when it's in robot mode, it's no longer correct, but they nailed it here. Okay, to disassemble these lions, and they made it easier here than on the Legacy version. You push in this little panel here and just pull, and it snaps out real easy. And I'm going to show you the difference in the two when I bring out the other Voltron. And again here, yeah, Pidge wanted to be a little Pidge. Okay, and down here you turn these lines around. There's a little panel here. You sort of push it up, slides right off, and you push this up on the back of the yellow lion. Comes right off. Okay, so now here is the main Black Lion ready to receive the other figures. I'm going to turn on the sound, and then I'm going to push the button. He makes a sound, then I'm going to add the red lion.
Red Lion, all systems go!
Okay, he recognizes the red lion. I'm going to push the button again, see if we get another sound.
Pidge, is that you? Where are you?
Okay, now he's asking for Pidge to join. Put Pidge in.
Set to go, Keith.
Okay, now I'm going to move on, hit the button again.
We're going to need the yellow lion, Hunk.
And he's literally asking for the yellow lion specifically.
Yellow lion, leap it into action.
Now for the final limb.
Princess, we're a team, and we really need you.
Calling for the princess.
Ready to form Voltron. Activate interlocks. Dynatherms connected. Infracells up. Mega thrusters are go. Form feet and legs. Form arms and body. And I'll form the head. Go Voltron! Form blazing sword.
Then he yells out blazing sword. And then while he's merged as Voltron, then he cycles through another set of voice. Well, it starts with a growl.
Bitch, talk to me. Are you hurt? No, I can handle it. We've got to hang on somehow. I trust you, Keith. Activate laser blades. We've got to hang on somehow. Bitch, talk to me. Are you hurt? I'd be hurt if you didn't ask.
Another reason why I don't like Pidge.
Activate laser blades. You got it, Keith. Let's put him out of business. Yeah, with Voltron. Lance, form blazing sword. Yes, that got him. Activate laser blades. Yeah!
Yeah, a lot of the voice clips are similar, but they're different. And he cycles through them. In between the sounds and the growls and the lasers, there's over 60 different sounds that he makes in the various modes. And depending on which lion you start with and finish with, he'll call for the different lions to be connected, which is pretty cool, especially for what this thing costs. You get the electronics, you get the large scale figure. He's pretty well articulated. Speaking of which, let's jump right to articulation. I'm gonna go to his head. His head will 360. You gotta lift it up a little bit. The chin sits in a little groove here, but you gotta lift it up, and his head will 360. You look in all directions, and I just lifted it up. He can look up this far. He really can't look down because his chin is banging the upper chest. Coming to his arms, and this is where a lot of people don't like it, but it's tolerable. I'm not a big fan of how he doesn't rotate at the shoulder. He rotates at the sides of the chest here. And let me cut that off. And if you lift his arm up, you break up the aesthetic with the little red piece across the chest. His arm does not go back any further than this. I don't know if it's because of the electronics or whatever, but you can get it to come forward. You can get it to go all the way up. And it's the same with the left and the right side. And where he plugs in, he can swivel his arm up about this far and back down. He has a elbow swivel. It's at the lower forearm. Instead of starting up here, they could have gave him two so he can get a little bit more range of motion, but he only has the one. A lot of the smaller figures have two, and he can cross his hands over his chest with the second swivel, but this one cannot get his hands in front of his body. And he has the elbow bend, obviously, which they all come with, and that's pretty good. And then the hand, which is the lion's head, 360s on this guy. There's nothing at the waist, and I'm assuming it's due to electronics, but it seems like they could have worked it in. There's nothing really hindering it except for maybe the tail, and you can like slot that back. Coming down to his upper thigh. Upper thighs, they can go out this far. You can get him into a good wide stand and rotate his lion's heads a little bit. They rotate just a little bit to try to get them flat, but they don't rotate enough to accommodate a real wide stand like this. But you can get that stance. You can bring his leg forward this far. It droops a little bit on you at the connection point, but that's still pretty cool. I don't think he's going to stand on one leg like this anyway. He has an upper thigh swivel. It rotates this far and then stops, and that far and stops. He has the knee bend, and then an upper thigh bend from the Black Lion mode. He gives him this much range of articulation, and then if you come down to the lion head, which is the footness mode, has just a little bit of rocker to help you with a little bit of a wider stance. And that is pretty much his articulation. Oh, and the fact that he can look up. That arm's not staying. You can get him into a flying right at you type thing. because he can look straight ahead if he's flying, which is really cool. You get a lot of things for the price with the electronics and the Black Lion and the weapons, the firing weapons with the smaller guys. I think he's really cool. The only problem I've ever had with Voltron is the villain. Any large-scale Voltron figure, they've never made a road beast for. I'm hoping the new cartoon does well, so we can get a large-scale road beast. I will put it with this guy, with the other guy. Buy two of them. It doesn't even have to be screen accurate or all-time road beast. Just give him any road beast so he can chop some guys up. Speaking of chop some guys up, and get his weapons out here. This is the Blazing Sword. I showed it off in, I think, the Red Lion review first of all. And the first thing I want to tell you about Blazing Sword is not only does it lackluster, which I'm kind of over now, but in comparison to Voltron, it's pretty small. So I'm going to get it in his hand. It has a little peg right here. It pegs into the roof of either the Green Lion or the Red Lion. But since I think Voltron was right-handed,
activate interlocks.
put in his right hand.
Dynatherms connected.
So here he is with Blazing Sword, and you can see just how small it is. And bring back up his lack of a second articulation at the upper bicep, where you can't get his hand like across his body. That hinders his articulation. But this sword is tiny. You can get it in the Foreign Blazing Sword. And again, you got to kind of break up the chest aesthetic here to get it up. But you can give him the Foreign Blazing Sword. It would have been nice, turn the voice chip back on. It would have been nice if he could recognize that he has the sword.
Arms and body.
And here is his shield. We all know his shield. Sometimes he would throw it, use it as a weapon like Captain America, and not just defense. And also it has a peg on this little part here. Goes right into the mouth of the Green Lion. But that's pretty much, it's going to be on his side all the time. He's going to block something incoming. He's going to have to turn to the side because he can't swivel the arm in on the hinge. Same thing with this one. But I mean, he doesn't have anybody to fight. So you just got to imagine road beast. So I guess you won't need that much of a dynamic position from Voltron. But you can get him like he's coming down. And if I get it all in camera, slicing the road beast in half. See if we can get him to get down on one knee. Not quite here. Sort of, kind of, a little bit. Alright, if I work with it, I probably can get him to bend down on one knee. Yeah, it's a little sloppy, but he's there. So he has a lot of articulation. This is a pretty cool figure, especially for somebody like me. I missed out on Soul of Chogoking, however you said, Chogoking, because I didn't want to pay that price. And then when I decided it was cool enough, after I watched enough reviews, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get it. Then it was gone. Then it was jacked up on secondhand markets. But this is a nice fix to my craving. It's not Soul of Chogoking, but it's a pretty cool fix to my craving. And then one last thing before I finish talking about this version. Take his sword out of his hand and also his shield. And I'm going to bring in, what is it, like the 11.5-inch version, the 40th anniversary. No, I said 40th. The 30th anniversary Blazing Sword. And these are the two side by side. And of course they look alike because they're both Blazing Sword. Except for this one has some sharper edges to it. And I'm sure this is U.S. safety regulation type thing. And of course this one is chromed out, but they're like the same size. This is a 16-inch guy, his sword. This is the 11.5-inch and his sword. And this is what I'm saying when I tell you that his sword is undersized. It doesn't look that bad, but it's undersized. And the two shields, and again, they're right there. This one is larger, but this one is right there. And then it has the nice chrome. So I'm going to jump into the legendary Netflix series version, and then I'm going to come back and talk about both. So the arms tuck up into this little compartment, just like the 84 version. Then you rotate it around to complete the chest look. The legs, the rear legs go straight down to merge, and the little back pieces just hang out. Tail folds up, and that's it. It's the exact same transformation. Then the legs. The legs are the exact same transformation. The front legs and paws become the little stabilizers. The head becomes the front of the foot. And that's pretty much the same thing. The tail just slots down in here. Save time. This is pretty much the same. But I want to get to the arms. The arms are different and unique. When you come to the arms of the green and the red lion, you have to unhinge the back. His back. And it opens up. And this is important and cool. They slide in on this hinge, rotate down, you hear that ratchet going on, which is very cool, and tuck away and store inside. And then you close it back up. And this is very important because in the anime of the 84 version, once the legs tucked up and in, just like on the toy, let me see if I can get it out here. It would transform exactly like the toy. The legs would tuck up. But then the cartoon, they would disappear and you would be left with just the rotor or the drum right here, and the whole leg and paw in the anime would be gone. And I bring that up because we've had 10 or 12 versions of Voltron in the last 5-6 years, and no one has done an anime version yet. And we've gotten a giant Voltron that holds the pilots. We've got the die-cast Solar Jokoken, which is like the definitive Voltron. Now, we've gotten a lot of different versions from a lot of different companies using their licenses, but we've never had a true anime-accurate 84 Voltron. Everyone is doing a take on the original toy. And I bring that up because these guys have found a way to hide the front legs. And pretty much the rear legs too, even though it's just this panel. Moving on. And they tuck up behind the panel, and you pretty much have a legless limb without the animal legs in there. And it looks pretty cool. And I wonder, as opposed to just, I guess, recreating the 84 Voltron on a larger scale, why didn't they try to go for the anime accuracy from the 84 cartoon? And that's pretty much the only version we haven't seen. And I'm just saying it because I would like to know, what do you guys think? But moving along, it tucks in. It's pretty cool. Same with the Green Lion. I have it pre-transformed, and now I'm going to get him merged. Okay, so now I'm going to get the Netflix version merged. I keep wanting to call it Legendary Defender, but I think they're both packaged as Legendary Defender. But I'm going to get the Netflix version merged, and it's the same. You start the exact same way. It's the exact same articulation from this point, and there's nothing really different. Except for the sound bites, he makes his own from the modern cartoon. So I'm going to bring out... first I'm going to hit the chip, see what it says. All right, activates his power. Bring out the Green Lion. Just pour them in, just exact same with the little peg there.
You can count on me, hero.
Paige, we're going to need that shield.
All right, shield right here. Go Red Lion. I'm gonna hit the button again.
Huck, we're waiting on the Yellow Lion.
Would ask for somebody I don't have in my hand.
Lance, we're still missing the Blue Lion.
And again, he'll call out all of them.
We need the Red Lion.
Yeah, I had the Red Lion a minute ago. Go Red Lion.
Red Lion, ready for battle. Good to have you back, Keith. Lance, we're still missing the Blue Lion.
Blue Lion this time. Good, different sequence.
Blue Lion, ready for action.
Huck, we're waiting on the Yellow Lion.
And final
Huck,
one.
we're waiting.
Blue Lion, ready for action. Red Lion, ready for battle. Green Lion, all systems go.
Yellow Lion engaged. Red, green, black, blue, and yellow lions detected. Voltron operational.
And
Let's do it.
I'll form the head.
Forward sword.
Bring his head down, open his lower jaw, just like all other Voltrons in history. And there you have his face. You can see it from there. The only problem I have, and I'm not sure how these wings go once he's in this mode. I kind of have him hang out. I don't think they stick straight up like Voltron, so I kind of have him hang out like this. And only problem I have with this, well, two problems with this version. The legs, the lion legs, the Blue Lion and Yellow Lion legs, at least on mine.
Fire.
The ratchets are a little weak, and he tends to fall back because the paws will bend up on you. They're not as strong as the 84 version. I'm pointing over there at it. You can't see it. But they're not as strong as 84 version. And then the main paw, the paw at the very bottom is like a softer, rubbery, gummy plastic. And that doesn't help either. And it kind of mushes, and this guy falls over a lot more than the other version. And then taking the arms out. The first time I tried to take the arms out, it was a pain. I had to go get a blow dryer. And online, they have a lot of different techniques so you don't damage the figure. And in the actual instructions, it tells you to bring the arm up and across the body and just push, which it works now, and it pops out pretty easy. But the first time I did it, it was a nightmare. I thought I was going to break it trying to get it out. But after you've done it and popped it out the first time, and I guess worn away the little notch right here a little bit, after you've done that, then it's a lot better. So the first time you're doing it, if you haven't done it, be real careful. Like I said, there's a lot of different techniques online for people doing it. I just got a hair dryer, heated it up, softened it up, and was able to get it out. And now it pop out easy. But it was a nightmare. And I guess when they made the 84 version, they made sure they included a couple buttons to release it. Because the legs have, on this version, the legs have a release button. But they didn't do anything for the arms, which was weird. Let's see if I get the sound back on. And his articulation is pretty much the same as 84 version. Okay. Got his sword out. And I've never assembled it. It comes in two pieces. It comes with two different lions, I believe. And I guess it just slots into here. I'll find out soon. I see the two different notches. And here is this translucent blue blazing sword. It had a few scratches on it. I haven't done anything with it. Maybe it got dinged around in shipping or whatever. And here's his blazing sword, which is a little odd. Absolutely nothing like the vintage version at all. But still looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's like laser, like lightsaber type when he turns it on or pulls it out, but get it in his hand. As far as I can see, there are no notches to plug it in. He just bites down on it and gets a good grip. And he's already wearing the shield. I guess he walks around. Green Lion keeps it at all times in this anime. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. And here he is. Here he is holding blazing sword. And again, it would be nice if he could recognize he had in his hand. I'm going to turn on the voice feature again. Or maybe I never.
Pitch, form shield.
My shield can't take much more of this.
We need to increase firepower.
We got you, buddy.
Let's light this thing up. Fire lasers.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all you get from this version. And when I just had this one, I was not in a hurry to review it. Like I said, I had it for a year and a half in the packaging. I didn't get a chance to review it when it first came out. Then it kind of hung around for a while. But luckily, this one came out and gave me a chance to go back and review this version. And now that I have them both, I love them. Absolutely love them. Waiting to review this was kind of a blessing in disguise, because I got to review the two of these guys together, and that's even better because now I have both of them. I didn't know they would release this one. I kind of had this one trying to scratch my Voltron itch, and now because he doesn't have a villain, like I brought up before, there's no Robeast on this scale or any other large merging Voltron. The 12-inch guys, the Matchbox, the Panache Place, none of those guys had a large scale Robeast. You can get like the 3 3/4 Robeast laid in a little coffin thing, but for none of the Voltrons have they ever made a Robeast. I would love a giant Robeast, but until then, I have the two of these guys sitting side by side on the shelf, and there's some big guys. I got to make room for them. And a lot of people complain like, man, where am I going to put those large figures? I love having that problem. I love trying to find a place for a jumbo guy. All right, to wrap up this toy review before I get out of here, obviously I recommend both of these, especially for the price you can find this one at right now. It's a must-have for any type of 80s collector. I'm mostly Transformers, but anything tied to the 80s, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, I roll with it. Ninja Turtles. and now Voltron. I had one other Voltron in my collection at this point, and here it is for a little bit of size comparison. The 30th anniversary Toonami die-cast Voltron. I really loved this guy when I first got it for the chrome and the weight of it. But now that I have this one, I mean, I still love it, but the slenders, the sleeker, more modernized humanoid type body style, and the little thin little wings here with the lack of the white paint that's present here. Anyway, this is, I believe, it's 11 and a half, right around 12-inch scale figure next to these guys. And scoot him forward just a little bit. And now I'm going to bring out the Mega Action 18-inch Optimus Prime non-transforming. If I got them all in here to give you a little bit of sense of scale. And I am George, the 80s Transformer fan, saying I'll see you soon.
Autobots, transform!